Welcome back to another video, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Life on the Fly. Today I'm going to be teaching a different kind of fly today, and it's actually a new kind of pattern that was tied only a few years ago. It's called the blackjack steel. It's for steelhead trout. You can tie this in many different variations. Like, I mean, I read a post and I seen the fly and I was so intrigued by it. I loved it. I haven't honestly gotten out to fish it yet. I love tying them. I have so many of them here in my box. If you can see them all right there, a whole line of them. The one with the bubblegum heads. So many of them, and I have yet to tie them. I have yet to fish them, and I don't really know the effectiveness of them. From what I've read, they're very effective. I can only from where I'm at, I can only get the beads in pink and brass. They're not in tungsten. So I would use this as a tailing fly. I don't use brass because it's not very heavy as a sinking fly, a lead fly. So I might as well just, drop maybe a stone fly or something as a dropper, or one of my squirmy wormy patterns that I tie. Usually a bigger fly to get it down, and then I'll use Euro nymphs, or I'd use these bubblegum guys to just kind of to tail the fly. Now in Canada, we're allowed to have up to like 3 hooks on our lines. It's honestly a pain to cast, but I mean, hey, like I'll end up trying it this year. I've tried casting it a few times, and yeah, it resulted in me losing a few flies, and it's honestly just not really worth it, I don't think. So yeah, I'm gonna be tying this on this is a size 8. It's a scud hook. Well, I mean, I don't really think it looks like a scud hook. Honestly, it's just a bait hook. I'll buy bait hooks because they're cheaper than fly hooks. And I mean, honestly, they fish the same. These ones got barbs on them. The only scud hooks I can get right now are barbless. And I mean, I do like fishing barbless, don't get me wrong, because it doesn't hurt the fish as much when I release it. But a lot of the time I do keep fish, I do eat fish, and I love it. So the barb always helps. So yeah, let's just get right into this. This is on a size 8 hook. This bead is a 3.8 millimeter, a 532. This is a tasty tackle. They're beads. And then I'm gonna be tying with a black uni thread, 6/0 width. I'm gonna be using. Honestly, you can use a pink thread to do the wraps up the tail. Kind of like in my previous video, if you haven't seen it already, on the Pollock Special #1 stonefly, I did the pink wraps up the tail. The same thing goes with this fly. Whatever color you make the bead head, usually you make the tail. I mean, I've made this in a black as well. If you can see the black one here in the end, it has a black head on it, right there. Black head on it with the pink stripes on the way up. That one looks proper as well, but I mean, I got these pink beads and I love them. So usually you want to match the head with the wire. So in this case, I'm using the pink craft wire. I'll be using, for a little bit more weight, a lead-free weight wire. It's a 0.020. I'll be using a little bit of an ice dub, a UV pink, and then I'll be using a Shor head cement, the cheap stuff, because when it comes to fly tying, I'm a little bit cheap when it comes to that. And then some black Goose Biots. Honestly, you're supposed to use white Biots for the top. I haven't gone out and bought it because of the lockdown right now, so I'm using just normal partridge feathers that I got. And they got Biots. They're just natural Biots, so they're not hardened with a dye. They're white. Honestly, they're kind of transparent. They're a little bit see-through, but they still work. They get the job done. They look amazing. They look the exact same as the white ones. So let's get right into tying this. So yeah, you take some of your lead wire. I like to use lead wire on a lot of my flies just because it bulks it up, and plus it gives it a little bit more of a sink rate. So I usually cut about an inch and a half, some wire. You probably don't even need that much, honestly. Just do your wraps here. Now you don't need this wire. If you want, you could just bulk it up with a little bit of dub, or you can bulk it up with your thread, whatever the case. Don't really matter. It's just I like to make sure that my flies are getting right down into the feeding zone. rolling off the bottom. Okay, and then once you got your wire here, perfect, then we're going to start on the thread. So we're just going to start it right behind the bead hook, the bead on the hook, and we're going to work our way back towards the tail just to lock this wire here in place. Snip off the excess. We're going to go kind of about halfway down, maybe about quarter way down the bend of the hook, not all the way. Yeah, wherever you stop here in the bend of the hook, that's where you're going to put your biots in. So the biots aren't going to be facing completely straight out. They're going to be kind of going a little bit down on a vertical. So now you're just going to want to build up your thread so the whole entire body is completely black. I've read a lot of good stuff on this fly. It has proved itself to a lot of different people. It's meant to be tied on a size 10 to a size 8 hook. It is a variation of the Prince Nymph. Apparently, that's what the actual tyer, the guy who came up with this variation, that's what he said, was it's a variation off the Prince Nymph, which I can kind of see it, but I kind of can't. I mean, it's a whole entire another fly on its own, I think. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in, whether you want to just put in your pink thread, or if you just want to put in a pink wire. I like the wire just because it's a little bit more sturdy. Sometimes the thread, it moves quite a lot when I'm trying to tighten it. If you don't have the wire is a little bit more sturdy, right? So when you wrap it around the hook, it's not going to easily slide up and down and ruin your pattern that you made. I find with thread it's kind of like that, especially when you're applying the head cement. So you're gonna tie this all the way in, right up from the bead of the hook, all the way to the back. Oh. There we go. Just make sure you get every little bit covered in black. Okay, so now you're just going to have this hanging off the back here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your black Biot right here. Grab some nice big thick ones. Grab 2 of them. You're going to point. That's a pretty long Biot, if you can see that. It's a little bit too long. You don't want it too long off of it. Honestly, I'd measure just about the hook shank and do it right off the back. The back ones are going to be longer than the top ones. Just one. Oh. Here's 2. Yeah, now again, guys, I haven't really fished this fly yet. I have yet to. With the lockdown right now, we're not even allowed to go fishing. So honestly, it's sitting down and filling up the tackle box right now, the fly box. It's tough. Plus, a lot of trout's not even open right now. I have to wait till April. We got steelhead options, so you can go fish steelhead. Salmon just closed. Here in Ontario, we have many, many different options. Okay, so now you're going to grab those biots. You're going to kind of lift them up and wrap around them, underneath them, with the wire or the thread or whatever you want to do. And then we're going to come up and we're going to go over. We're going to just slowly wrap this all the way up, right to the bead. lock her in place. Take your excess and snip. Build it up a little bit. It's looking pretty good so far. More than halfway. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take your white Biot. See, the ones from, these are from ruffled grouse, or ruffed grouse, whatever you want to call it. They are white, but they're not sturdy like the other ones. The other ones are hard from the dye and the preservatives that they put on it. So these ones are pretty bendy. They're not as sturdy. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to tie them on kind of like out in a V shape, just like what you did with the tail here. It's just like the wings on a stonefly, or the legs on the stonefly. There's one. We're going to do two of them, just right off the back, just like that. There we go, and then we're gonna bend these back up and over, so they're kind of like that. So stick out, and then we're gonna snip off the remain. I find if you snip off the remain when they're just coming off the end right here, it leaves a big clunk over the head, so it's best to always bend them back and then snip them off, and then tie over them and then snip them off. So now we're just gonna build up the black collar here. Shoot, one of my biots just ripped off. Okay, just gonna get this one on quick. It's not one thing, it's always another. There we go, okay. And then when you got those on, then we're gonna take your dub, usually the same color as your wires or whatever, honestly. Like, you can just shoot and do whatever you feel like doing, whatever colors you want. Fly tying is meant to be imaginative. It's your own creation. So we're only going to take about this much here. Then we're just going to tie it right over as the collar. This thing's getting a bit tricky here. Peel it back like that, and then get right where the head is. Just like that. This is one of my favorite flies to tie. It's so easy. Such an easy fly to tie, and it looks so pretty after. Such a good box filler, to be honest. Then what we're going to do is you're just going to tie her off. Now, I don't use a whip finish tool, and I mean, if some of you don't know, I'm sure you guys know how to use it, or you guys know how to tie off just like I am right now. I find it's a little bit easier with your hands. just because I haven't really, when I started tying, I could not use that tool for my life. It was so hard. But I'm going to be starting a how-to series, how to tie, like for instance, your fly line to your backing, or how to tie your leader to your fly line, doing certain knots, certain perfection loops. I'm going to do a how-to series on, starting off on a thread, and I'm going to do a how-to series. Like, it's all going to be a part of my series that I'm going to be doing. So hopefully you guys stay tuned. If you guys have any sort of questions on certain things and you guys want to know certain things, then drop a comment below, give me some suggestions. I would love to hear you guys' opinions, how I can maybe make this channel a little bit better. So what we're going to do is just going to add a little bit of head cement there so she doesn't come loose. Sorry guys, I had to put in 2 clips, my camera just died. But yeah, we're just going to keep on adding head cement here, and we're just going to just completely wrap it in it. But yeah, it's still, like, drop a comment if you guys want suggestions. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on how I could definitely make this channel a little bit better and more to your guys' needs. Again, I'm gonna start doing some fishing videos and adventure videos, kayaking, all just what the outdoors has to offer. Snip off some of this dub here, whatever's in the way. There we go, guys. That's it. That's how you tie it. That is the bubblegum colored blackjack steel. So guys, I thank you for tuning in again to another video. I'll continue to make videos and continue to post tutorials in my tutorial series that I'm doing right now, and just trying to get viewers up, subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed already, please click the like and subscribe button. Drop comments below, do whatever you can, and continue to stay tuned and stay tying. Thanks.